the official White House version, it was at this moment in a Florida classroom that Bush learned the second plane had hit the World Trade Center and that the U.S. was under attack. But here's what George Bush himself said almost 3 months later when asked about September 11th.
I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot. And I said it must have been a horrible accident. But I was whisked off there. I didn't have much time to think about it.
Now, wait a minute. George Bush was told about the second plane while he was inside the classroom. So you just heard him describe seeing the first plane crash on television that day. But that's impossible. No one saw the first plane crash on TV on September the 11th because the videotape of it didn't surface until the next day.
Yeah. This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center.
I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on.
I'm not going to lose hope, and I'm going to go as long as I have to until I find it, because I know he's going to come back to me.
This is one of our first patients we saw in the emergency room. He's a 50-year-old white male. He was actually an insurance broker. He was just in his office and was actually on the 78th floor of the second tower and was evacuating the tower and experienced all these explosions and made his way back down. Came in with penetrating abdominal wound and also open shoulder separation, dislocation, and he's actually miraculously doing very well.
But as soon as I got outside, I heard a second explosion. And then a fire marshal came in and said we had to leave because if there was a third explosion, this building might not last.
As we were getting our gear on and making our way to the stairway, there was a heavy-duty explosion.
Some of the people out, then there was secondary explosions and then the subsequent collapses. So I don't know how many people were in there. I know there was a lot of firefighters.
We really never even got to that close to the building. An explosion blew and it knocked everybody over. They were taking photographs and securing this area just prior to that huge explosion that we all heard. Like, it sounded like gunfire, you know, bang, 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 and then all of a sudden, three big explosions.
To me, it sounded like an explosion.
It just went ba-boom. It was like a bomb went off, and it was like holy hell coming down them stairs. And then when we finally got to the bottom, they were coming out on a mezzanine level there, and another explosion came right from it. Just everyone flying right in front of me. Everything just went boom.
I was standing next to One World Trade Center, and then all of a sudden I heard rumbling, and we all started running away from it. The glass like blew out and threw me onto the sidewalk, and I couldn't see for like 20 seconds.
Bottom elevator, the glass just flames exploded out the front of the World Trade Center. Glass flew everywhere.
Next thing we know, it was boom, boom, and the floor started shaking. And then we saw debris fall down, and next thing we know, we had to get out of the building. We were stuck on the stairs for a while. We finally got down to the lobby. Then we get to the lobby, it was this big explosion.
I'm about a block away, and there were several people that were hanging out the windows right below where the plane crashed, when suddenly you saw the top of the building start to shake, and people began leaping from the windows in the north side of the building. You saw two people at first plummet, and then a third one, and then the entire top of the building just blew up.
Down in the basement, all of a sudden we heard a loud bang, and the elevator doors blew open. Some guy was burnt up, so I dragged him out. His skin was all hanging off.
The streets of the financial district covered with debris, in some cases ankle deep. cars on fire, cars just turned by the force of the explosions. It was like something no one had ever seen.
Knocked my helmet off, knocked me to the ground.
I was about 5 blocks away when I heard explosions, 3 thuds, and turned around to see the building we just got out of, antenna tip over and fall in on itself.
We started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if it had detonated.
Detonated.
Planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
I go downstairs, the foreman tells me to go to remove the containers. As I'm walking by the main freight car of the building, in the corridor, that's when I got blown. I mean, the impact of the explosion, of whatever happened, it threw me to the floor.
All of a sudden it sounded like, I don't know where the subway is, but it sounded like a subway collision, a bomb, and it was just pounding, boom, 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 and I literally thought the subway had exploded and all the cars were fixing to land on top of us. It was so loud.
I was real lucky. I don't know what happened to the people behind me when that blast occurred.
But his story was that he ran in, he went into the daycare center, which really hasn't been mentioned very much, on the 2nd floor of one of the World Trade Center buildings. And the good news, he said, was there was nobody in that center, but he made his way up. He pulled people out with him as they resisted, and then there was an explosion. He said car exploding outside, knocked him unconscious, and he was rescued himself by a firefighter brought here to St. Vincent. So a very compelling story. I wish he could have told it for himself.
Big boom, come down the steps, everything fine till we got to the basement, and then everything just fell in. I got trapped in there with another guy, crawled out, kept getting hit in the head, had bags floating around. Finally, we clawed our way out over the rubble.
Yeah.
Come on down. We did all right.
All right, way to be, Tom. Let's go.
Anything else you know that you'd like to add?
Just as I was coming out of the building, I heard somebody sort of ushering people away, and they were saying, you guys got to get out of here, it's a bomb.
Many thanks, Lindsey Grimm.
Yeah, here's one of the guys who can tell you I'm okay, all right? Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
You gotta get back from here.
You know that, all right.
Get back.
All right. Don't worry about me. You need to make calls right now. All right.
Should have taken a couple of companies that they were leaving back to us that were stuck in the tunnel. So they might be busy doing it.
Go against another one. Hours after the attack, many smaller explosions rumbled through downtown.
Keep your eye on that building as we coming down. The building is about to blow up. Moving back.
From the rest of the building, can we go to the tape now? Here we go, right here. This is, I mean, when you look at it, the building has collapsed. That tower just came down.
Just into our newsroom, a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. Let's get this live update from 1010 Wins correspondent.
I had been notified that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. At first I thought it was a light aircraft. Was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot. And my reaction was, man, either the weather was bad or something extraordinary happened to the pilot. I then informed some of my staff members to, provide help to New York City, whatever help they needed to take care of this incident, and then walk into the classroom.
Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning. Good morning. I have brought with you to be the most wonderful guest. Would you please stand and recognize the President of the United States?
Good morning. And I felt a presence behind me. And Andy Card's Massachusetts accent was whispering in my ear, "A second plane has hit the second tower. America is under attack."
They didn't say to him, the second tower's been hit. The words he heard, this is from Andy Card himself, were, "The country is under attack."
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th, malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
Al-Qaeda chose to ruthlessly murder these people, claimed credit for the attack, and even now states their determination to kill on a massive scale.
All lies, all evil deeds, they stink. You can cover them up for a while, but they don't go away.